You never really know how strong you are until everything and everyone you leaned on has been taken from you. You do not truly discover the voice of God until silence becomes the only companion you have left. And you never realize the power of a woman until she has been shattered by the hand of the very one who once called her. Many of you are weeping over a breaking that is, in truth, a blessing in disguise. You may think it is rejection, but in reality, it is redirection. God does not break you to destroy you. He breaks you so that He can reveal you. The women God calls and uses are not born in comfort. They emerge through the flames of brokenness. He does not shatter them because they are weak. He breaks them because He sees something within them that must be released, something the world has not yet witnessed. God does not use what has not been surrendered. He will not elevate what has not been emptied. Before He multiplies a woman, He first reduces her to nothing but Him. God removes what you think you cannot live without to show you who you really are. He strips away the crutches you lean on. He severs the ties of unhealthy dependence. He dries up the wells you thought sustained you, because you cannot step into divine purpose while your confidence remains tied to someone else's opinion. His goal is not to hurt you, but to free you. Some of you are walking through divine detachment. You feel lonely not because you have been abandoned, but because you are being reintroduced to your true self. Apart from the clutter, apart from the applause, apart from the weight of expectation, that loneliness you feel is not emptiness. It is a holy isolation where God begins to speak with clarity. When He wants to use a woman, He quiets the noise around her. He sets her apart because destiny never grows in crowds. It grows in caves. God breaks a woman so He can purify her soul. You cannot carry bitterness into your calling. You cannot take fear into your future. And so He begins to strip not to shame, but to sanctify. He is not rejecting you. He is refining you. He knows that if He does not break your dependence on emotion, you will end up sabotaging your own elevation. Every woman God has ever raised was broken first. Esther lost her family. Ruth lost her husband. Hannah wept in anguish in the temple. Mary was misunderstood and left in isolation. Yet out of that place of brokenness rose influence, authority, and glory. The oil only flows when the jar has been crushed. Anointing does not rest on perfection. It rests on surrender. You see, emotional detachment is not about coldness. It is about confidence. It is knowing that your soul belongs to God and not to the approval of others. It is the posture of a woman who knows her worth even when people walk away. It is the peace of knowing her identity is not tied to being wanted, but to being chosen. When God breaks you, He is not reducing your value. He is uncovering your power. A woman broken by God no longer fears being alone because she has learned that being alone with God is safer than being surrounded by people who do not understand her calling. She is no longer moved by compliments. She is no longer controlled by criticism. She does not chase validation because she carries vision. Her breaking has taught her that true love is built on alignment, not on attachment. Understand this. God breaks the woman He wants to trust because brokenness is not about damage. It is about dependence. Can you still say yes when it hurts? Can you still believe when the plan makes no sense? Can you still trust when the doors shut? That is the woman God uses. The one who wrestled in darkness and walked out carrying her purpose. The one who bled in silence but now stands in strength is the one who was emptied of self so she could be filled with heaven. And here lies the mystery. When God breaks you, He does not leave you scattered in pieces. He rebuilds you stronger, wiser, purer, and more powerful than you were before. If he can trust you with pain, he can trust you with purpose. If he can trust you with loss, he can trust you with legacy. If he can trust you with isolation, he can trust you with influence. Brokenness is not a sign that God is displeased with you. It is the sign that he is preparing you for something far greater than yourself. When God wants to use a woman for his divine assignment, he does not begin with her strength. He begins with her surrender. And surrender is only made true through brokenness. The vessels God uses must first be emptied. They must be stripped of pride, cleansed of self-reliance, and cut free from false security. Because what God desires to pour into a woman cannot coexist with what the world has already poured into her. When God breaks a woman, he does not shatter her value. He unveils her capacity. The breaking is a holy surgery. It is the hand of the potter reshaping the clay. Many women cry out for purpose, but few realize that purpose always comes after pruning. Before you can carry the weight of destiny, you must first be light enough to rise. That means God will allow life to press you, to stretch you, to shake you, not to destroy, but to purify. He breaks off the fear. He breaks the addiction to approval. He breaks the comfort that keeps you passive, because he knows a woman too full of the world cannot carry the burden of heaven. This is why brokenness is not punishment. It is a process, a divine process where God pulls you away, quiets your spirit, and begins to do his deepest work. That pain you feel is not pointless. It is purposeful. God is emptying your soul so he can fill it with vision. He is breaking your habits so he can build your holiness. And when the process is finished, what emerges is not a defeated woman, but a warrior refined by fire, ready to walk in divine authority. When God lays his hand on a woman for a divine task, the first thing he often does is remove what is familiar. He disconnects her from the places, the people, and the comforts that once defined her, because God refuses to let his daughters anchor their security in anything but him. Detachment is not cruelty, it is clarity. He begins to untangle her soul from what dulled her discernment, from voices that shaped her more than his word, and from relationships that fed her feelings but starved her spirit. He calls her away so that he can call her deeper. There comes a moment when God interrupts everything. He will dry up the well that once refreshed her. He will close the door that once swung open with ease. He will silence the praise she once depended on, not because he is angry, but because he longs for her full attention. God knows that if her identity is still tied to titles, applause, or attachments, she is not yet free, and he cannot build eternal purpose on a false foundation of belonging. In that season, what God is building is eternal. He is showing the woman who she really is without the masks, without the mirrors, without the noise. He is introducing her to the version of herself that does not shake when others leave, that does not crumble when seasons change, that does not compromise when pressure grows. He is grounding her in an identity that is not shaped by culture or crisis, but by covenant. In that sacred detachment, she becomes dangerous to the enemy because now she is no longer distracted. Her confidence is no longer drawn from being needed. It comes from being known by the one who created her, who set her apart, who called her long before she breathed her first breath. When God breaks a woman, it is not to expose her weakness, but to reveal her hidden strength. Brokenness becomes the mirror where she finally sees the depth of what God placed inside her. Often we mistake strength for holding everything together, for pretending to be unshaken, for doing and achieving endlessly. But divine strength is found when everything outside fails, and the woman realizes what is within her is far greater than what she lost. God uses brokenness to strip away the outer shell of performance, perfection, and pretense. He allows life to press her so that the treasure within her can shine forth. It is in brokenness that she stops measuring her worth by what she does and begins to understand her worth by who she already is. The storm does not prove her fragility, it proves her endurance. The loss does not mark her failure, it marks her faith. The rejection does not lessen her value, it awakens her vision. What looked like a breakdown was actually a breakthrough hidden in disguise. God uses pain as the stage to reveal what he quietly deposited in her spirit. She begins to see that her worth was never in the applause, the relationship, or the position. It was always rooted in her identity, and once she sees it, she can never unsee it. She starts to move differently. She no longer begs to be chosen because she remembers she was already called. She no longer waits for permission because she knows she was already appointed. God uses brokenness to crush the illusion of limitation. The cracks in her heart do not mean she is useless. They mean the light can now pour through. She is not less because she has been broken. She is more because she now walks with the awareness of the power that was always hidden deep within her. God does not trust what he has not tested, and he does not use what he has not broken. When a woman is called to carry something eternal, she must first be proven in the secret places. Heaven does not hand its treasures to the unprepared. Heaven refines them through fire, through breaking, through surrender, until they are ready to carry the weight of glory. Assignments are never handed out based on desire alone. They are shaped by endurance, honesty, and surrender. The breaking becomes the qualification. It is the divine test that proves whether a woman can carry the weight of the calling without being destroyed by it. God does not break her because she is weak. He breaks her to show she is unmovable. Trials always come before trust. Before Joseph ruled Egypt, he was betrayed, sold, and locked in prison. Before David wore the crown, he hid in caves. Before Esther saved her people, she was taken from everything she once knew. And before a woman can lead, speak, nurture, build, or carry influence on God's behalf, she must pass through seasons where everything seems to fall apart. This is not punishment. It is preparation. God allows it so that when she stands in her place of purpose, she will not flinch when pressure comes, and she will not collapse under judgment. The testing removes every false motive. It shows whether she is doing it for praise or if she is doing it for true purpose, whether she is chasing purpose to be seen or because she was sent. God does not give divine influence to a heart still tangled in the need for human approval, so he tests her in silence. He watches how she responds to delay. He sees her reaction when doors shut. If she stays faithful, worshipful, and obedient in the dark, then he knows he can trust her in the light, because she did not allow pain to shift her posture, and she did not allow the fire to steal her purity. When God begins lifting a woman into divine calling, one of the first changes he makes is emotional detachment, not because he wants her cold, but because he wants her strong. Feelings are powerful, but they were never meant to lead. If a woman is too emotionally tied to people, opinions, or her past, she is vulnerable to distraction and manipulation. God separates her so he can make her steady. He quiets the emotional noise so that his voice becomes the strongest sound within her soul. Emotional detachment is not coldness. It is holiness. It is the sacred place where the woman learns to feel deeply but not be directed by what she feels. She can love without losing herself. She can serve without seeking approval. She can walk away from what no longer aligns without shame or apology. That kind of clarity only comes when God has taken her through a season of deep inner change. It cuts her away from emotional crutches so she can finally stand on the solid ground of truth. When a woman becomes emotionally detached in God, chaos no longer controls her. She is led by conviction. She is not swayed by mood or fooled by fake intimacy. She knows how to tell the difference between divine alignment and emotional tie. She knows when to remain and when to leave, not from bitterness, but from wisdom. And that wisdom produces authority. The enemy cannot move a woman whose emotions are ruled by truth. She is dangerous to darkness because she does not simply react, she responds. She does not cling, she releases. She does not beg, she commands. All of this comes from her ability to let go emotionally of what God never gave her, so she can fully step into what He has prepared. A woman cannot fully step into divine calling while she still craves outside approval. As long as her worth is tied to how others see her, she will live trapped by their opinions. God cannot build His vision on a shaky ground that moves with every compliment or criticism. He must anchor her in something firm. That is why He begins the breaking process, to free her from the need to be noticed, accepted, or celebrated by people, until she is no longer ruled by fear of rejection or hunger for acceptance. Her purpose remains buried under performance. God wants to birth something eternal through her, but insecurity cannot hold it. The calling is too heavy to rest on someone still unsure of her worth. So He takes her through times when affirmation stops, when praise disappears and applause goes silent. He does this not to punish, but to show her that her value was never in those things. He shows her that who she is in secret is more important than how she looks in public. When approval fades, her identity must remain. That is the woman God uses. When a woman no longer needs validation, she becomes powerful. She does not change her message to gain followers. She does not lower her standards to be accepted. She does not dim her light to make others at ease. Her confidence is not pride, it is alignment. She knows who called her. She knows who sent her. And because of that, she can walk away from anything that does not match her purpose. Her yes to God becomes louder than her fear of being misunderstood. And in that inner strength, God releases the fullness of her assignment. When God breaks a woman, it is never to weaken her. It is to awaken her. He is calling out the treasure He placed in her soul before time began. Her wisdom, gifts, strength, and authority often lie hidden under fear, pain, and false identity. The breaking is how God digs through the surface to uncover the gold. Many women do not even realize what they carry until their world shakes. It is in the breaking that the oil flows. It is in the loss that destiny begins to speak. What seems like an ending is often the beginning of revelation. God has already placed everything she needs inside her, but it must be revealed. Revelation only comes through brokenness. She does not discover her strength when life is easy. She discovers it when she survives what was meant to destroy her. That is when her purpose rises. That is when her spirit begins to lead. That is when she stops looking outward for strength and begins drawing from the well within her. Pain does not define her. It uncovers what was always there. There is a woman inside the woman, stronger, wiser, bolder, more in tune with heaven. But she cannot come forward while the outer woman is still covered in fear, shame, and approval seeking. So God starts the holy surgery. He allows heartbreak, loneliness, and disappointment not to punish, but to peel back the layers and show her who she truly is. The enemy whispers that she is being destroyed, but heaven declares, I am revealing you. Her tears are watering seeds she never knew were planted. Her silence is giving birth to clarity she did not know she needed. And through it all, God is awakening the version of her chosen before the world began. If you find yourself in a time where everything is being stripped, where the noise has ended and the familiar has vanished, do not resist. God is not trying to harm you. He is revealing the woman He always knew you were. He is not taking from you. He is taking limits off you. The breaking is not the end, it is the unveiling. The detachment is not death, it is resurrection. You are not being thrown away, you are being refined. And when God finishes, you will rise not carrying scars of defeat, but strength of destiny. You will walk not needing to be seen, but burning to fulfill the task that only you can carry. Because once God breaks you, the world can no longer break you.